What's going on, everybody? I'm back with another video for my Omi homies. And yesterday we had the first Veve AMA of the year 2022. And as always, a lot was discussed regarding Veve NFTs, regarding the Omi token. Some things people liked, some things people didn't exactly like. So we're going to go through all of it here. I'm going to give you my thoughts and analysis on all of the major points that were brought up during the AMA. As always, if you like the content, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is linked below. Now, let's jump right into it, and I'm going to pull up the Twitter thread recapping all of the major talking points from yesterday's AMA, and we're going to go through it. So they started the AMA by discussing their explosive growth in the year 2021 and going through some of their milestones, including the fact that they surpassed 1.4 million monthly active users. And they defined a monthly active user as someone who logs into the app at least one time a month. All right, now, a little more precise understanding of how many people are interacting in Veve regularly is the daily active users, and that is over 300,000 daily active users. And what I found interesting was the fact that they said that they didn't expect to get to this level until their fourth year. So they are way, way ahead of schedule. And I do expect that exponential growth to continue in the year 2022. And they did go into the year 2022 next, saying that they expected to see more utility and interactivity with their NFTs moving forward. They said that licensors are taking a more proactive approach in this regard. Now, they went on to say that the NFTs over time would start to resemble digital toys. And I think that this is really important to keep in mind because we're at the very beginning of this technology and we're at the very beginning of this project. And so the NFTs that we're getting right now are the simplest form of what they're going to be putting out. As time moves on and as technology improves, and technology improves at an exponential rate, we're going to see more complicated, more interactive NFTs. So these simple movements that some of these, animated NFTs are performing right now are going to look very insignificant down the line. They're going to look simple. That the ultimate animated Spider-Man, which right now stands out as being extraordinary, down the line, that's going to look very simple. Just like we look back on older video games and realize that those are now outdated. And to me, that's exciting. And it's also exciting for these NFTs that we're holding right now because they will be remembered as the first ones of their kind. And as the technology progresses and improves, these are going to stand out as the first one, and they're going to look like the first ones. All right, so I'm excited to see more of that. The licensors have been able to now wrap their heads around what this technology is and what the capabilities are. And so this is good stuff. Now, they also said we'll start to see more digital clones as well, and there would be NFTs with physical counterparts. And I think a lot of people in the community would be interested in this. If you look on, in social media platforms, you'll see a lot of people who have the TOD in NFT form going on eBay and picking up the TOD in physical form. All right, so I do think that there are many people who would be interested in this. They went on to talk about bots, talking about how they take bot activity very seriously. And in fact, they stated that they have disabled at least 250,000 accounts for bot activity. Now, I've seen a lot of responses on Twitter where people took offense to this. They didn't like it. They don't like the idea of a company, a corporation being able to suspend an account. So we can't have it both ways. We can't complain about bot activity and the fact that we're not getting drops because the bots are getting it. But then when they take decisive action against people using bots, then call them out and say that this is corrupt. All right. They stated that drops sell out so quickly because there is crazy demand for the drops, and we also know this to be true. If there are 300,000 daily active users and 100,000 of them are going for drops at any one time, your chances of getting something are oftentimes less than 10%. They're still in the process of developing their new drop system, which will be a waiting room. All right, people will wait in line 5 minutes before the NFTs drop and see if they're one of the ones randomly selected to make the purchase. This is also going to combat the bots. However, it won't be as exciting as the countdown and then clicking the buy button. They went on to talk about app updates. They have updates that will fix bugs for the showroom, augmented reality, and the market. Drop times will now be shown in your local time instead of, I believe it's Pacific time. And they will have improved consistent messaging. Their focus for 2022 in regards to the app is a feed redesign and some new features, all right, including the ability to, message people. They're going to have a reorganized market and comic sections, and they're also working on localization, which is super important to get more markets into Veve. And localization means that the app will be translated into local languages. They went on to talk about MTL and cash out, which of course is a hot topic of conversation. And they stated that one of the reasons this has been in development for so long is that anti-money laundering laws have become very stringent as the crypto space gets a lot more scrutiny compared to other industries. And the goalposts have been moved a few times, so to speak. So they have been testing cash out with a small group of users, but they're waiting on additional legal review before they can open it up to a wider testing group. All right, and rollout we know is going to happen in phases, but it seems like it's being held up by legal issues and coming under review by lawyers. Now this was pretty important, and a lot of people have jumped on this. Unfortunately, some countries will be excluded from MTL because those countries don't allow certain cash out functions. We will document and announce all of the details ahead of the public release. All right, so there's a lot to unpack here about MTL. One is that it is frustrating that we don't have the ability to cash out of the app just yet. Now, there are people with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars wrapped up in Veve. All right, and they still can't get their money out. On the one hand, I understand that's very frustrating. On the other hand, I also understand that these things are complicated. All right, they're dealing with legal, laws in different countries. Every country has different procedures and laws, and they need to abide by all of them. All right, so there's a lot of red tape to climb through, and especially being in the crypto industry, in the NFT business, there is definitely more scrutiny, and I can understand that. Now, one thing that they said that raised a lot of eyebrows is that some countries will not have the ability to cash out. And, that's not Veve's fault. That's more of an issue with the country and the country's laws. However, I do think that they should tell people if they're living in a country that won't have this option, that people have the right to know this now, right? Because everyone's kind of like speculating on what countries won't be able to cash out. So I do think they should get ahead of this. They said that they will be creating a list of countries that won't be able to cash out. I don't think they should leave people hanging. I think that they should get ahead of it and be a little more forthcoming. Now, with that being said, I'm sure that there will be workarounds in some way, and people who do live in countries without the ability to cash out their money will be able to convert their gems to OMI down the line. In regards to interoperability, there was nothing really new here. They said that it won't be every licensor to begin with. Some licensors are still a bit nervous about the open NFT world, but we do expect more to come with time, and that they will be announcing a list of licensors once interoperability is ready to roll out. And for those that don't know, interoperability is the ability to take your NFT out of the Veve ecosystem and put it somewhere like OpenSea. All right, so we know that that's coming. It's going to likely start with the artist pieces and hopefully in the future roll out to all the major brands and licenses. They stated that they're very close to creating an update that will enable people to display their comics in showrooms, all right, display them on walls as wallpaper to make them readable in the showroom. And there's more information on this in the coming weeks, so that's good news to all of you comic collectors. The question was asked, will we have the ability to sell full sets in the future? And the answer was yes, hopefully later this year. The artist Jermaine Rogers, who's behind the Choices series, dropped by to talk about his next drop, which will be the Veil. All right, and this is a really cool piece. I'm sure it's going to be really popular. This is coming out in the next couple weeks. So I'll touch on some other things that were said that weren't in the Twitter thread. All right, for one, they stated that the OMI token migration would be taking place the last week of January. All right, they're going to use the time from now until then to get their information out, to communicate the process to people so that people do it correctly and that everything is done right and there are no missteps. All right, so next week they're going to have a chat in the Discord to walk people through the process, and they'll also have another information session in Twitter Spaces. All right, so it looks like that token migration is now going to happen last week of January. In regards to OMI utility, they said that that's also going to be rolling out in phases and that they're working on a version 2 of that will include more benefits to the higher tiers. They also said that they are continuing to work on the web platform, and that should be available in the coming weeks. Now, someone also asked about gamification, and it sounded like that, wouldn't really be a priority this year, and that's something that's going to happen down the line. Now, we know that Frank Kozik has stated that there would be labbit breeding inside the Veveverse. And they basically said, artists have their own ideas of what's going to happen, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen. So I don't know if they were referring directly to Frank Kozik or just in general, but it sounds like once gamification does start, it's going to be very, very light, and it's going to take some more time, all right, to develop true gamification inside the Veveverse. And they did not mention the Veveverse at all in this AMA, all right, which is also interesting. The other thing that was notable that they said was that they would be expanding their comics beyond just Marvel. There would be independent comics coming out this year and other brands. So hopefully we'll get DC comics this year. I think that would be really, really big. So that was basically it for the AMA. It was informative. It was a lot of the same things that we've heard, just some updates, some of it interesting, some things people liked, some things people didn't like. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. What are you thinking about the current roadmap and the state of progress that Veve is making? As always, on your way out, hit that like button. It helps get this video out to more OMI homies. Consider subscribing to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. I hope you all have a great weekend. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. I will see you in the next video.